Chapter 1, Support and Movement in Living Organisms. So we will study support and movement in plants and animals. First, in all chapters, we will begin with plants. So support in plants. First question, what is the importance of support system in plants? We want to know that the plant needs support to maintain its shape. You know that the plant consists of roots and stem that carries flowers and leaf. And the plant maintain its shape by this type of support. And for protection, to protect plant against other organisms. And structural support. We have two types of support in plants, physiological support and structural support. So we will begin with the physiological support. From its name, the physiological support, it is a support that affects the cell itself as a whole. يعني ده الدعامة اللي بتدعم الخلية ككل. Cell itself as a whole, not part of the cell. It is the cell, all of the cell. So it can be explained by turgidity. What's meant by turgidity? To know the meaning of turgidity, we must know that when the water enters the cell, it moves to the cell sap vacuole, and we studied before in secondary stage and that the water moves by osmosis. Do you remember osmosis? The movement or diffusion of water from high concentration to low concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Okay, this concentration for water. So the water will move from outside to inside through its cell membrane and moves to the vacuole or central vacuole of the plant, the large vacuole in the plant. So the water enters cell sap vacuole by osmosis, like a balloon, زي البالونة كده بالظبط لما بنعمل فيها أو بنعملها انفليت أو بننفخ فيها فبتبدأ increase in size. نفس الكلام السيل ساب when we put water or the water moves inside the cell, it enter the cell sap vacuole and its size will increase and press on the protoplasm. That protoplasm is cytoplasm and cell membrane. So pushing it to outside toward the cell wall. So the cell becomes increasing in size and increasing in pressure. The cell wall extend due to increase in pressure, act on the cell wall, and the cell swells and becomes strained wall so that it acquires the support. بمعنى لما المية بتتحرك بالosmosis من الهاي concentration outside to inside, so it moves to the cell sap. فالسيل ساب السايز بتاعها increases فبالتالي بتعمل pressure على السيل وول فالبريشر دوت بيعمل swelling ل all the cell. Okay, so this is the turgid cell and the plant becomes like this shape. But when the cell loses its water, by osmosis, and the water moves from inside to outside, so it will shrink. How? The water will move from high concentration inside the cell to outside, so the cell membrane will shrink and move away from cell wall and becomes flaccid, okay, or plasmolysis. This is the opposite of turgid. So this in here, cytoplasm shrinks away from the cell wall. We have many pictures to observe that process. Here, for example, this is for turgid cell. When the water moves inside, turgid pressure increase and the whole cell swell. And this is a turgid cell. You can observe that the cell is swell. Here, this is another cell that loses water, so plasmolysid cell takes this shape, and osmosis in plant cell, we have three types of solutions. If we put a cell inside isotonic solution, this isotonic solution means the water and the concentration of water and the concentration of salts are equal, so no movement here, so the cell becomes with its size, normal size, okay? But if we put the cell into a hypotonic solution, hypo here means low concentration of salts, so the water will be high concentration in solution, so it will move from solution to inside the cell. So the cell becomes turgid cell. The third case, if we put the plant cell in hypertonic solution, hyper means high concentration of salt, so the water will be low concentration in solution, so the water will move from inside the cell to outside. Here the cell becomes plasmolysid or flaccid cell, okay? And this is flaccid cell, and this is turgid cell, and this is under the microscope. You can observe under the microscope the turgid cell. We have examples in our life. For example, the swelling or the size increasing of dried fruits on soaking them in water for a period of time due to their absorption of water by osmosis. كلنا بنشوفها في المطبخ كده، وماما مثلا في رمضان بتعمل اي مشروب، فبالتالي بتحط السيدز ديت في الووتر، فبالتالي بيحصل لها swelling او بيحصل لها increase in size. نفس الكلام لما بنحط الجريبس برضو في الووتر بيحصل له نفس الكلام swelling. الترمس، اي حاجه من السيدز اللي بنحطها في الووتر فبيحصل لها increasing in size by osmosis, and this is the turgidity. The opposite of that shrinkage, that means wilt or losing the swelling and tension of some fresh seeds such as beans and pea on leaving them for a period of time due to loss of water from their cells. واحنا بنشوفها كتير برضو لما بنشوف الكيوكمبر مثلا بنسيبه فترة طويلة بره، او البيز لو وقعت وجينا بعد كام يوم نشوفها هنلاحظ ان هي حصل لها wilting او losing للسويلنج اللي هو اللي بنسميه الفلاسيد او البلازموليسيس. Okay, this is the shrinking of the plant cell or seeds. After that, the third example, wilting of leaves and stems of herbaceous plants on facing soil drought. لو تعرضت النباتات للجفاف فبالتالي بيحصل ان loses its turgidity and losing their swelling. As a result of that, their loss of water. So this is by physiological support disappearing. So the plant becomes wilt like that plant. Okay, but if you watering this plant again, okay, the plant will becomes swell another time due to turgidity, and their internal tissue cells will pass water to their subvacuoles by osmosis. So the plant becomes healthy again or turgid again. This is the first one of support, physiological support. We have a video for explaining plasmolysis and turgid. So now we know the meaning of plasmolysis and turgid, and they are opposite to each other. First is the turgid cell. When we bought the plant cell in hypotonic solution, we said that hypotonic, hypo means less salt concentration, hypo, less salt solution. So the water will be high concentration in the water solution inside the cell. So the cell becomes turgid. But if we put the plant cell in hypertonic solution, the plant will lose its water because hypertonic means high concentration of salt and low concentration of water solution. So the water moves from inside the plant to outside by osmosis. And if we put it in isotonic solution, concentration of salts and water will be equal. So the plant doesn't change its size. So answer the following questions about the first support, physiological support. Explain what will happen when the Elodia was placed in a salt solution. So when the Elodia, this is a plant that lives in water, Elodia, submerged in the water. So if the Elodia was placed in salt solution, the vacuoles disappeared and the protoplasm came away from the cell wall, making organelles appear in the middle of the cell. Such cells are said to be plasmolyzed. This occurred because we said that water concentration inside the cells was greater than that of salt solution, so the water moved out by osmosis. The opposite of that, what happens if the Elodius cells are placed in distilled water after that? If the Elodius cells are placed in distilled after the cells have been in salt solution position, the organelles will depend on how long cells were in the salt solution. يعني احنا سيبناها فترة طويلة ولا فترة قصيرة. لو كنا سيبناها فترة طويلة فبالتالي مش هترجع لوضعها الأصلي. If permanent damage was done, the organelles will remain in center of the cells. But if there was no permanent damage, the water will re-enter the cells and the vacuoles will reappear and the organelles will return to the periphery of the cells. يعني لو أنا سبتها وما حصلش damage فبالتالي هترجع لوضعها الأصلي مرة تانية. This is the first kind of support. The second kind is structural support. It is a support that affects the cell wall or some parts of it. It happens in the structure of the cell, in some parts of the cell, not all the cell. Okay. Before that, we must know that types of plant tissue. We have plant tissue in the plant. We have studied them in a first stage. To revise them, we have in plant tissue, we have two types. Meristematic tissue. These cells are able to make fast cell division, and it happens in the tips of the plant, القمة بتاعت النباتات في الstem and the roots عشان يحصل increasing في length of the plant or in the buds, so the plant can increase in its length. While the other type of tissue is permanent tissue. This is mature cells and can't make cell division. We have permanent tissue. We have two types, simple and complex. Simple means composed of single type of cells, and complex means composed of more than one type of cells. So we have three types of simple tissue. They are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Sometimes called parenchyma and collenchyma, sometimes chloroenchyma if they have a chloroplast or plastids. So we can say they are chloroenchyma. The complex, we have two tissues that have more than one type of cell. For example, xylem and phloem. Do you remember xylem? This is used for transporting water and support the plant, water with mineral salts. And the xylem consists of xylem vessels and tracheids, while phloem is used for transporting the food or the carbohydrates that the plant makes in photosynthesis process. So the phloem consists of sieve tubes and companion cells. So now we have known the plant tissues, meristematic and permanent, and simple and complex, and simple like parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. So this is a picture for xylem vessels. If you observe here, there is no cytoplasm. هنلاحظ كده ان هي فاضيه من جوه، ما فيهاش اي حاجه ولا cytoplasm ولا nucleus ولا اي حاجه، فتعتبر xylem vessels dead tissue. But they support the plant by lignin in their walls. This lignin deposits in the walls of the xylem vessels, so it becomes thick walls and stiffened with lignin. Okay. But in phloem, there is cytoplasm inside, but the nucleus is found in the companion cell. This is for transporting water, and this is for transporting food. So we have here the three simple tissue of the plant: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, we said that found throughout the plant and storing starch, oils, and water. So they are soft tissue, Maybe have chloroplast, collerenchyma, as we said, in leaves, and they make most fruits and stems and roots. While collenchyma, found in younger tissue of leaves, provide support while plant grows. So they are found in the leaves of the plant. And sclerenchyma or nucleus or protoplasm. So they are making up wood and nutshells. بنلاقيها بقى على القشره بتاعت البذور او السيد كوت اللي هو غلاف البذره. من بره بيبقى صلب بسبب السكيلرونكيما. So we have three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, uniformly thickened. Parenchyma cells are found in soft part, as we said, like leaves, fruits, bark, flowers, pulp, pith, stem, any soft tissue. Parenchyma have thin primary cell walls, usually become mature, and they are form is the filler, الفجوة أو الحشوة of the tissue in soft parts, as we said, of the plant. This is upper epidermis and lower epidermis of the leaves. They are composed of parenchyma cells. Collenchyma, we said that they are thickened cell wall and more thickening in corners. More thickening in corners like that. They have thickened cell wall and more thickenings at corners. And composed of pectin and other substances. Collenchyma cells are found in the petiole. The petiole is the neck of the leaves that connect the leaves with the stem, and in some young stems, some areas secondary thickening بيبقى موجود عندها حاجة زيادة اللي هو السليلوز اللي موجود في الكورنر زي ما اتفقنا. اوكي فدي بتبقى more support عن البارنكيما. While sclerenchyma is the most supporting tissue because it is made up of thick and rigid cell wall composed of lignin and other substances. Sclerenchyma cells are found in mature parts of the plant like herbaceous, perennials, النباتات اللي بتبقى السنوية أو اللي بتظهر على مدار العام, and woody plants. Sclerenchyma cells have thick lignified secondary walls. زي ما احنا شايفين كده بيبقى عندها secondary wall. في primary wall و secondary wall بيبقى فيه lignin. يبقى ده كده في مادة أقوى. يبقى عندها سيلولوز في السيل وول وعندها lignin. So it is the most supporting tissue. So structural support depends on the cell wall thickness. It depends on the position of some rigid, strong substance in the on the plant cell wall, such as cellulose, lignin, chitin, sorbrin. Okay. So what is the importance of this structural support? As we said, it increased the ability of plant to protect the internal tissue from other pathogen from outside the plant that can penetrate the plant. So the plant make protection، يعني النبات بيعمل حماية لنفسه ان هو بيحط على السيل وول بتاعته او على الابيديرمس بتاعته، بيحط عليها some epidermis cells، بيحط عليها some substances to be rigid or to protect the plant and to protect the internal tissue. Number two, to prevent the loss of water from the inner cells. We know that the plants like the water and the plants don't like to lose more water. So they put some substances in the cell wall to not lose water. ما بتحبش تفقد الميه فبتحط substances عليها من بره، يا اما protect الانترنال tissue او prevent the losing of water. Number three, supply the cells with hardness and strength support the plant. Some parts of the plant needs the strength or hardness, so the plant deposit some substances in these parts. For example, for increasing the thickness of epidermal cell walls, especially outer cells of them, the plant has cellulose in their cell wall. Second example, deposition of chitin substance that is impermeable to water on the epidermal cell walls. So the chitin doesn't lose water or prevent water transpiration or water evaporation from the plant. بيمنع تبخر الميه من البلانت عشان بيبقى موجود على الابيديرمال سيل وولز اللي هي السيلز اللي موجوده في بشره البلانت من بره، فبالتالي بيمنع ان الووتر يحصل لها لوزنج، ويعتبر كيوتين impermeable يعني doesn't let water to pass. So it found in the leaves, cuticle or cutin. Here, this is the yellow part in the above the leaves. They may be found in the herbaceous stem to not lose more water. Deposition of cellulose substance on the cell wall, as in collenchyma cells. We said that cellulose in the between cells of collenchyma, they give support for the plant. Here, this is the cellulose, the black color here among the cells. This is thickened primary cell wall. Okay. Deposition of lignin substance on the inner surface of cell walls. طب لو زودت بقى وحطيت الليجنين في الانر surface بتاع السيل walls, secondary cell walls, such as in sclerenchyma cells. So we have two types or two examples for sclerenchyma cells, fibers and stone cells. So if the lignin is found among the cells or deposition in the inner surface of cell walls, so it will be more support, okay, like fibers cells and stone cells. They are found in the seed coat. قشرة البذرة بتبقى من بره، بيبقى عليها الستون سيلز ديت اللي بنتكلم عليها، او في الفايبرز اللي بتبقى موجوده في السام فروتس او فروتس. فكل دولت يعتبروا هم examples للسكليرنكيما stone cells or fiber cells. اوكي، وهنلاقيهم في الاكزامبل زي ما اتفقنا في السيد كود. Deposition of sovereign substance as in cork cell. طبعا كلنا بنشوف على الستيم بتاعت التريز في بارت كده او في layer from outer layer اللي هي البراون color بتبقى cork layer. This cork layer has sovereign substance السوبرين سبستانس اللي احنا بنشوفها ديت اللي بتبقى موجوده على تريز من بره، اللي في بعض الناس بيقعدوا كده يشخبطوا عليها ويكتبوا عليها، هي ديت الكورك لاير. الكورك لاير is has sovereign, and this sovereign is impermeable for water and supporting the outer shelf of the plant. Like this is the cork layer. This is the cork layer outside or outer layer here. It consists of this is called the bark, consists of a living phloem and the periderm that consists of cork, cambium, and the cork. Okay, the cork is the most outer layer. So it has sovereign that support the plant and impermeable for water. So we have finished our lesson today, and we have form, Microsoft form with questions. You will answer them, and we will send this forms for you. We can answer some questions from Knowledge Bank. First question about what is the primary function of structure support, function of structure support materials in plant. The first question, what is the primary function of structure support materials in the plants? We can choose the most suitable answer to maintain the shape of the plant and the plant cell, as we said. So it will be the correct answer. Second question, which of the following is the major component of plant cell walls that have the primary function of providing support to the cell? So we said that cellulose is the most primary function providing support to the cell. Cellulose. Third question, which of the following is a polymer found in cell walls of vascular tissue, such as the xylem, to provide additional structure support? We said that it has lignin. You remember? Lignin in the walls of xylem. So it will be the correct answer. Fourth question. What is the primary role of cutin and sovereign in the plant? We said that they are impermeable and waterproof barriers. They don't pass water, so they are impermeable and waterproof barrier. The fifth question, which of the following is not a type of simple plant cell? Not a type of simple. It will be, we said that simple, sclerenchyma, collenchyma, and parenchyma. While mesenchyma, this is not a simple plant cell. Question number 6, what will visibly happen to a plant if cell turgidity is not maintained? Not maintained. Be attention for not. So the leaves and the plant will wilt if there is no turgidity. Leaves and the plant will wilt. Which of the following tables correctly differentiates between examples of structural and physiological support in plant? So we have two tables. So examples, structural like cellulose in cell walls, lignin in xylem walls, and physiological, vacuole increasing, decreasing turgidity. This is the most right one, so it will be the correct answer. If we have the simple diagram provided shows a plant cell increasing in turgidity, as the turgidity of the plant cell increase, what happens to turgor pressure? When the turgidity increase, what will happen to turgor pressure? We said that the pressure will increase as turgidity increases. So it will be right answer. To simplify, diagrams of plant cells are provided. In which diagram is the cell more turgid? Which one the cell will turgid from diagram 1 or 2? So increasing in size will be diagram 1, increasing or more turgid. The last question, the diagram provided shows how cell can increase their turgidity. By what process does water move in the vacuole of the cell? We said that the water moves by osmosis, as we said. So we have finished our session today about biology.